We've got the FAMO starting to join. I think we can probably start, getting into it. I've got a thumbs up from everyone else in Step who's recording and things like that. I think so. Let's get into it. Cool. Well, today we have one of my favorite projects in all of Solana coming to have a chat to us today at Steps. We've got the Samo FAMO in the house. And maybe you guys just want to introduce yourselves individually, like who you are, what do you do, and then we can get into like what Samo is and all of the cool stuff that you got going on. But maybe you guys want to get into it. GSS and Swick.
Sure. Yeah, happy to kick it off. And the feeling is mutual. We're super excited to come on and chat with the Step team. You guys are a blast and building a real platform in the ecosystem. So great to just hang out, shoot the shit, talk a little bit. So I'm GSS. For those who don't know, I'm the team lead at Samoyed Coin. I was an OG community member that joined a month after Samo launched last year of April, and just kind of stuck around for quite a bit before leaving my existing job in the crypto ecosystem to go full time. And it's almost been a year now, which is crazy to think. As far as just my background, I started my career in TradFi. I worked at an investment bank. I did that for a number of years before realizing in 2016, 2017 that crypto did have like lots of legs and there was going to be immense opportunity in the ecosystem. And so I made the jump and ended up working at one of the larger exchanges for a little close to 4 years, where I worked in a research analyst capacity before then, leading the team. And I've done a number of different other kind of like projects and worked with people within the ecosystem. So come from a little bit of a different background, but nonetheless, I always believed the meme coin sector had lots of opportunity. The bar was super low, and so Samo was just ultimately like a really great fit, all things considered. And I've been loving it ever since. We've got awesome people in our community, and we've got lots of cool stuff underway. And so I'm super excited. I'll hand it over to Swick.
And just before you get started, Swick, as well, one of the interesting things with the Samo team is you think meme coins are like a 12-year-old with a phone, but actually, like, everyone in the Samo team is super legit. Like, the experience that you guys have been in, you've been in TradFi and various other sort of things beforehand, donned a suit and so on. So yeah, it's not quite like a 12-year-old with a phone, which is pretty cool to see.
Yeah, that's honestly one of the things that attracted me to the project as well, George. For those of you that don't know me, I'm Swick Samo. I'm co-team lead. Been working with GSS on the project for a while now, since last October. So hit my 1-year anniversary along with Samo. Pretty exciting. A little background on myself. Before I was working in crypto, I worked in supply chain, so like global supply chain. I was a consultant for big box retailers. Super, super stressful, like high intensity job. So I traded it for probably the only market that's maybe more stressful and a little bit more intense, which is crypto. A little bit of an addiction to stress when it comes to me, but so far it's been super fun. I've enjoyed my time here. When it comes to my journey with crypto, been involved since around 2016 in some capacity or another, whether it was buying Bitcoin and Ethereum and all the other ICOs that were coming out around 2016. And then kind of just like hung out, held my bag for a while, and then got into Solana right around 2020. Spent some time in the ecosystem. Then, when the NFT craze kind of blew up, started getting even more involved, and then saw Samo and was kind of hooked from the start. Just to reiterate what like GSS was saying, I think we saw the community, saw some of the people involved, and there's an opportunity for the community to kind of take the reins. So I stepped up along with GSS and a few of the other community members, and we've kind of been driving ever since. But super pumped to be here. Love the Step team, love working with you guys, and excited to chat.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, guys. Yeah, so look, I think as well, like, Samo probably doesn't need too much of an introduction, but I guess, you guys, you sort of came into the crypto ecosystem quite a while ago, and eventually you ended up here. And I guess the question is, like, why Samo? What sort of is the unique core ingredient that you guys are looking to sort of get out there or grow, or just sort of like what's what keeps you going, and what makes you go, wow, okay, this is really cool. This is something that I want to be involved in.
Yeah, if you want to go GSS, go ahead. Or I can take it.
You go for it.
I think the thing that like really drives me and I think really sets us apart is exactly what you said earlier. I've been a part of a lot of communities. I've been involved in meme coins in the past and dog coins in the past. And I think the difference between Samo is exactly like you said. It's not a bunch of kids posting on Twitter, doing like these huge raids and just kind of, saying when $1. It's actually a pretty solid community of really intelligent individuals. I think it's something that surprises me every day is we like to hop on calls with our community members. And every time we do, like their background and who they are is like shocking. And I think as we do it more and more, we realize that as a community and kind of as a space, we've created this ecosystem within Samo that promotes people to be a bit more intelligent, not just spam. We still make memes. Memes are fun and an extremely useful tool, and I think very important. We can go into that a little bit later, but we still have a certain level of intelligence and drive that's kind of backing all of that. GSS, if you want to add a little bit more.
Yeah, I mean, I think that, if I were to really like boil it down, I think crypto is, well, there's all these narratives and use cases of projects and utility and whatnot. Like, if you really want to boil it down, what it comes down to is community. Like the valuations of some of these tokens, you could argue is just like the collective consensus of what a community like deems this project to be, like what its value is. And so, if you're hyper aware of that's what drives a lot of crypto's value, then you could kind of take a step back and say meme coins have the biggest TAM as far as, total addressable market. Like its simplicity means it's able to cast its net out to a very wide audience and attract a lot of people to it. And so knowing those things, I think we just kind of like, at least just looking at Samo, I was hyper aware of those and was just trying to like ask myself, where could the ball be going, with both of those things in mind. And, for one of them, it was Solana. Like the ecosystem is, it's not perfect, nothing is, but the growth and innovation it's seen in such a short period of time and the momentum it has is just really kind of unprecedented. And so that was, all the more reason for me to want to look into like the meme coins on Solana. And then, Samo itself, like our founders, they were really crafty in coming up with something original. It wasn't just kind of a derivative of Doge or the Shiba Inu breed. It was the Samoyed breed, which it has the same kind of origins as Anatolia as far as where the breed comes from. And then, as we like to say, you can't spell Samo without Sam. The project was very much a nod to SBF himself, and kind of that's where it got one of its angle of it's kind of like meme angle. And so, you can make the argument that it's only a matter of time until SBF takes over the world. So, all things considered, like between meme coins, community building, Solana, the kind of like the initial story or lore behind Samo itself, and then, as I mentioned before, like the opportunity to take things a bit further and make your community not just about shilling. It's not like mutually exclusive. Get people in your community and others to like support your project and shill it, but we always believe that there's an opportunity to take things a little bit further and actually build a real community that's kind of founded on education, insights, connecting with one another, and that's we've done a few things on with respect to that, but it mostly pertains to, as of late, like the SAMO DAO, which we can get into a little bit later here.
Yeah, totally. And look, people use the word community a lot, especially in NFT circles. And I kind of, I don't know about you guys, but like often it's such a nebulous word that can mean anything. And what does it really mean? So you go into the Discords and usually it means like, oh, there's a lot of people like hyping about a coin or something like that. And that's literally it. And, that's the community. And then if there's another new hype thing coming along, then everyone leaves and goes to the next one. But if you go into the Samo Discord, like as I said before, it's full of really legit people, and there's people like posting their TA, which is not just like someone taking a screenshot of a chart. It's actually quite well thought out, and a lot of really good stuff going on there. So that's a shout out to the Samo Discord. Everyone needs to go and join the FAMO in there. But yeah, it's like I guess what you guys are saying, like with the community, it's so much more than just being a meme or something like. And we could, like, the value of memes. I remember we spoke about the value of memes last time and how it's a messaging medium, and it's certainly, as you say, the total addressable market is huge for that kind of stuff, right? It's kind of like you're broadcasting thoughts and ideas in a compact format. So no, that's really cool. But cool. Well, let's move things along, and we've got here just first to talk about the Samo Academy as well. So what's the deal with the Samo Academy? What's that all about? Education, learning. Why is that important? Who cares? It's a crypto market. We just want number to go up. What's the deal?
Yeah, excellent question. So the TLDR on it is it's an internal initiative basically to produce some content that pertains to relevant industry topics that kind of the average person should really know if they want to navigate the space. And so I think a good example was, the what was it over summer? I forget which wallet it was, so I'm not gonna say the wrong one. One of the wallets, for example, had a bug in it, and several of them were compromised. We had done, a few months prior, for example, a quick little primer on what a security or what a hardware wallet is and why you should use it, and how to get your hands dirty. And so that was like a really great example of a piece that we pushed out to the market, and around that time too, we recirculated it, and I think it got so correct me if I'm wrong. I think it got like a retweet from Anatoly. So we look at like the educational content as, I think two parts. It's one, a way to actually educate the community and try and pull people into our community and let them know that this is like a space to learn and get informed. And again, with like memes having such a massive TAM and really kind of being a way to onboard people to the ecosystem, like we feel it's pretty important to have educational material so those people can like not get wrecked, for lack of a better phrase. And then the other part is, it's marketing. I'd be bullshitting you if I were to say that like some of the educational content we cover isn't because, we think it's like a relevant topic that will catch a lot of eyes. Like that is certainly a consideration. So for us, it was like kind of just like a win-win. And it's something that, we really want to continue to double down on. I think you'll certainly start to see a lot more on the educational insights front out of the Samo DAO, which has been kind of like the more of a focus as of late. But yeah, nonetheless, like we feel obligated to help people come into this space and just not get wrecked.
Yeah, that's the thing. And also, especially for NFTs and also for meme coins, like it's usually the first point of call for a lot of people that are new. Like a lot of new people, they're not coming to like quadruple leverage call option perps or something crazy like that, right? They probably just heard that there's like a crazy dog coin and it's pretty funny and let's go look into it. So I guess a lot of people might not have that much experience. They might, as you say, like wallets. Like what's the deal with that? What's a hardware wallet? How do I keep stuff secure? So I think it's really good to have that as like a jumping off point for people. So yeah, no, I love it. Samo DAO. What is Samo DAO? And we got a lot of different things going on. I saw the other day there was like some of the proposals that were put forth there. You got a top dog council membership, I think is in Samo itself, right? Like what's the deal with the DAO? I guess as well, like why do you think a DAO needs to exist, or like why should the Samo community have a DAO? Because like I've often said in the past, I think certainly early stage projects being a dictator's best, and after that, like maybe have a look at being a DAO. So I think DAOs have like good use cases for specific kinds of communities. And how do you guys see it? Like what is the sort of value that the DAO is bringing, and yeah, sort of what does the community think about it?
Yeah, absolutely. I think I can kind of, God, this is a huge question, and it's probably going to take up most of this call. But high level,
I love it.
The DAO is kind of the evolution of a Samo Academy-esque thought process, right? You have new people coming into the space. They're starting to become educated. What do you do once you're educated? Once you have these tools and you're feeling a little dangerous? And like we've said before, we have some pretty intelligent people within the community already. So how do you build a community that's kind of that like next level up? And that's kind of the impetus of Samo DAO, taking some of those smarter individuals, putting our heads together and looking at the market and like trying to come up with a way to navigate it together. So we're going to be, high levels research initiatives. We're going to have a trading league. We're going to be putting out some bounties on some like information, whether you want to write a research report or not, or if you have a project you think deserves some research done. From there, once we kind of disseminate these reports, you'll have access to them as well. We'll be kind of conducting sentiment surveys. Really, it's kind of like Samo's research desk with a little bit more fun added to it. But I mean, when it comes to like why a DAO, I think it's that we have Samo, we have the project. We wanted to make something separate that was owned by these smart individuals where they felt they had a say in the way things operate. Samoyed Coin itself is already community ran in the sense that there's no really founders involved in terms of driving it. It's really just like community members that stepped up and have kind of been steering the ship ever since. But the DAO is when, we start getting this like decentralized voting structure involved on where do we kind of steer this ship, and everybody has a say. And you are correct that we did pass our first form of governance. We wanted to get that out before the DAO officially opened. So we were super excited about that. We used Realms and actually held the vote last night while we were all in a chat together, and it was pretty fun. Never thought like sitting down voting on chain would be something I consider fun on a Monday night, but here we are. But I think when it comes to like really diving into some of these topics, I know GSS is kind of chomping at the bit to get into the research desk and some of these initiatives as well.
Yeah, and it's also a way to align people towards a common goal. That's what I think, like, that's really what a DAO is, and that's what a company is as well. Companies, they're made by countries, they have a picture on it and a stamp, and you go, oh, I'm from this country, and we have a bunch of governance rules, and maybe the British Virgin Islands is a great place to do it, or maybe it's US or Thailand or Zambia or whatever. All of these countries have their own versions of these things called companies, which are really just stamps on a piece of paper to sort of align humans towards a common goal. So I guess like with a decentralized project like Samo, it totally makes sense that a DAO should probably be the way to align people towards cool things like, the different content or like trading league. That sounds awesome. I don't think anyone's really done that. Has anyone done that on Solana before? Like, so number one, bounties. I don't think anyone's really done bounties very well. And yeah, number two, like trading competitions. I think a couple of people, maybe the perp dexes when they first launched, but I don't know. What do you guys know?
I don't think that this is like anything that people have really pursued. And I think for like a few reasons. I think, one, it's really difficult. It's not easy. And then two, like, particularly as it relates to some of the content bounties, like that there is like a bit of an ask here. And that's very much intentional. Like, for example, I'll just quickly explain like what the hell these content bounties are. So basically, amongst the Top Dog Council, we have identified a handful of projects like right at the jump that we want to enable and offer community members to go and produce a research report. In doing so, they can be rewarded, and I can kind of dive into the rewards because there's a fun, cool NFT that would come with it.
Yeah, tell us about it.
Yeah, so I'll try and take it round trip here. So the idea is that there's a content bounty. You and a few others, if you want to, can apply to pursue said content bounty. At which point, if you're approved and we can confirm that you guys are committed to do the work, you'll follow a step-by-step process for researching, and you'll also lean on a research template. You'll also work with the Research Council, which are individuals who have experience in this field. And you'll effectively go through this long process of really kind of understanding these projects at a very deep level, compiling all the information, putting it into a report, and then sharing it internally, and then also sharing it externally, and being rewarded for doing so. And so I'll quickly hit on the rewards before I explain like what was the motivation behind this. You can get paid in some SOL right out the gate. You'll also get the social recognition and acknowledgement for producing said report. Like in a perfect world, I would love for Samo DAO to be kind of like a stepping stone for people who ultimately go on to maybe work at a fund or work at an exchange. Having kind of like this hands-on experience of research and understanding like how to really think through a project and think through the market. So you'll get that social recognition, and then we've also come up with The specifics behind it haven't been ironed out quite yet, but we're pretty close. But it's called a Dogler NFT, and effectively what it is it's an NFT that is redeemable for X amount of Samo if Samo hits Y price. So for example, there could be a Dogler NFT for $10,000, and the way that works is if Samo hits, for example, 10 cents, you get 100,000 Samo. You can redeem that NFT for it.
A cool option NFT. That's pretty badass.
Yeah, we're not going to use that language for a few reasons,
Right.
but yeah. I mean, I think that's a way to think about it. And then the cool part to it too is like if you don't want to wait that long, or if you don't have the faith in price moving that direction for whatever reason, you can sell it on the secondary market. And so we're really excited about that. And so to just close out here, what was kind of like what's the impetus behind these content bounties, and I think it relates to the DAO as a whole. Myself and others, like we took a step back and just said, like, if we had all the money in the world, like, what would we want to do? And I think for a lot of us, it still came down to like, we love crypto. The space has so much opportunity. It's not going away anytime soon. Like we'd love to keep playing the game. And to play the game well, George, as you know, like there's so much shit. You have to be constantly learning. You can't have eyes on everything. Like at the end of the day, what you need is like a community or a team of people who have diverse interests and can cover all sorts of things. And then you can share ideas and insights and better navigate the market. So we really want to like build a community around that, but then also take things like a step further by producing some of this content and having some of these insights. Because the other big issue in crypto is like there's so much to cover. It's also really, really tough to get up to speed as to like what a project's all about or what's going on with it. And I think that is also kind of one of the reasons why you see such insane volatility in crypto is like the market isn't super informed. It's not educated. It's not nearly as efficient as it could be. And so if there's a DAO like ours who can be producing, for example, a deep dive report on STEP, where people can get quickly up to speed as to like what you guys are all about, what were the opportunities, what's the roadmap look like, et cetera, then it's a really cool way for people in our community to get rewarded, to get some recognition, to help inform the market, and for respectable projects to get the attention that they deserve.
Yeah, well, I was going to ask, like, what kind of research are you guys looking to do? Like, and I guess that comes back to what kind of proposals there are, right? Like, can I make a proposal to say that the sky is green or something, and then everyone can vote on it? Like, something like that's probably not too productive. But, something that maybe, as you say, is more aligned with, the crypto itself or trading strategies or, what can you do utilizing these different platforms? Is that kind of what you're looking for from some of these proposals and eventual sort of research reports, or sort of what are you looking for really there?
Yeah, I mean, I'll let Swick hit on this, but I think just like real quick for me, the governance was very much created with kind of like this vision of being very content and research and insights focused, and full well like knowing that like might change or it might evolve over time, and that's totally fine. But for the for now at least having a governance that does allow for some form of decentralization, but also operational efficiency, like. I I wanted to answer your question originally, George. You said like, why are we making a DAO? A smart ass response would be because it's probably, as a meme coin, a DAO is one of the hottest memes in crypto right now, right? Um, but
Nice.
yeah, I mean, yeah, exactly. So I don't know, Swick, did you want to add on to that at all? Like, I guess, sorry, the last bit that I was going to say there is like, we do want to have this element of operational efficiency because, DAO, I think in its nature and in theory, it's like really kind of like cool and edgy. It's like, oh, 100% decentralized, but we continue to see like really great examples in the market of decentralization not necessarily being a great thing. Like MakerDAO is a perfect example on Ethereum where they've become one of the biggest projects in DeFi, and they have DAI, which is the fourth largest stablecoin. Yet they've really run into issues because they're so decentralized. Like they can't optimize for efficient decision making. So that was, all those things were kind of considered in our initial form of governance. But sorry to go on a ramble there, Swick. Is there anything you want to add?
No, I think I completely align. It's something that I was talking about quite a bit when we were actually in the process of it. Of one, it's just really cool building out a governance. As like a huge history nerd, like, yeah, we're just like a bunch of guys on a computer building out like a DAO around a dog coin. But like it's really similar to a challenge that a lot of people before have faced, whether it's starting a company, starting a country, building a new form of government is really interesting and just like really fun. But I think in the governance that we've built in terms of like our initial version for the opening of the DAO, its main goal really was to set kind of this road for the DAO to walk on, try to give them some level of guidance and build it in a way that right off the bat, maybe it's not completely decentralized. There's a way to kind of mitigate votes, like you said, where there's just people throwing a proposal saying sky is green, or throwing a proposal saying we should have a meme competition, and then having to vote on that and it taking 72 hours to vote. Like things like that need to be streamlined. We need to make sure that votes that are happening that are by the community are important and are needed, and things that are day-to-day operations need to be streamlined so we can actually function as like a living entity. But outside of that, we still wanted to build a framework where if the people get in, the community fills up the DAO, they look at this governance and they don't like it, they absolutely have the power to change it. But I think that was their biggest impetus, was like, let's provide the rails, put on some training wheels, and then if they want to vote to take them off, they can do so.
Yeah, I love how you mentioned the history there. I don't know about you guys, but often I will like lose sleep at night just thinking about different circumstances where it's like, if I was in the year 1000 and I started a new city and you wanted to like get to a golden age, how would you do that? Like, what kind of procedure? And every time I go through that process, I'm like, you know what? Like, actually, a lot of the ways that governance happened back then happened for a specific reason. Like there was limitations on the technology and communication, and you had to 3 days ride in a horse to get anywhere, and that's why people have like voting for delegates, because essentially like if not everyone in the village can go and vote on everything at exactly the same time, so they go and vote for these random people called delegates who go and represent them at the town hall, and then eventually that evolves and so on. But now I think we have instant communications and technology to do really cool stuff where everyone can be involved in everything. You don't really need like delegates, and really you kind of just need people that have cool ideas, and then everyone just sort of goes, yeah, that's a cool idea, and then everyone backs it. And then if there's some sort of way to enforce a decision as well, I think that's important. Some DAOs, they vote on stuff and it gets approved, and then it doesn't actually happen because it still needs a dev or someone to press a button to do it. So like I guess with some of these things, like if it's creating content or a research report, it's kind of like, well, the DAO can put in precautions there of say, hey, we're only going to pay on delivery or something like that, right? And that's like a mechanism to mitigate these kind of things. I don't know, do you guys think about that as well, or am I just a weirdo?
No, I think you have to think about that. And I mean, I'm glad that like you're kind of in the same mindset. It really does seem like something ridiculous, but if you're not thinking that way in terms of like, I know this is just a DAO with a community on Solana, but if you're not approaching it with the mindset of some of these individuals, past, present, and in the future that are building out countries or corporations, then your DAO is going to be set up for failure. You have to think at that kind of level, or it's just not going to work. But to kind of answer the other question you had is, like that, like resource question, absolutely. And I think that's something we spent as well. Is you can vote on the moon, but it doesn't mean you can get there. You have to ensure that there's tools there, and we tried kind of building that into the governance as well, whether it's with the research reports. When somebody makes a proposal, it's a research like report that they want to write, so we know we have the resources to make it possible. Or we'll put out the bounty, they accept it, then we can push that to a vote. That's definitely something we're very cognizant of, because like you said, I think we're lucky that we're building our DAO now, and we've had a lot of great examples to build off of, whether good or bad. And we've been able to see how some of these DAOs operate, and then we can pick the pieces we love and scrap the pieces we don't.
Yeah, no, that's awesome as well. And I guess you touched on a little bit before about maybe sort of working with other projects in the ecosystem. Like, do you have any other plans there, or how can sort of other projects be involved, or maybe that's part of the research report? Because I guess one thing, and we can talk about like how wrecked the crypto market is at the moment, but one thing that I noticed recently at one of the hacker houses was everyone's kind of come to the same conclusion of, onboarding new people is super hard, expensive, and time intensive as well. Probably the best way to do stuff now is that, look, there's a lot of users out there that are already validated, right? They're already people that have their wallets set up. They might already know how to use Phantom or how to use DeFi or how to use NFTs or whatever, but they might not know about all of the other projects in the ecosystem there. So sort of my pitch when I was there a couple of weeks ago was actually, I think, working better with other projects and doing more sort of content collaborations and stuff is really the best way to onboard more users to like your particular DApp. Because you might introduce people that have never heard of Samo or never heard of Step or something like that in one of those sort of collaborations. So I guess, yeah, what's your guys' sort of thoughts on working with the rest of the ecosystem? Is that something that is possible or not possible? Or yeah, I don't know. How do you see it?
Yeah, I think that that's probably one of the other things that separates us as like a meme coin is like in the early innings of Samo, when I was just a community member, I was trying to like sway the community one direction, and it was less of like shilling, and it was more like, and there's an opportunity to shill, but like also we should be more importantly be thought of like a mascot or kind of like an ambassador of the ecosystem. And so if there's a way to tie in memes and like supporting and showing love to other projects, then like that's the best of both worlds. And so on Samo proper side, like that's something that we've like tried to do and continue to do is like we've done it with obviously Step, but there's like fun ways to just add that meme element to the market and like do it with other projects. And then if there's opportunities to like write content too that can go into Samo Academy, like for example, we've got covered call vaults on Friction. Like we wrote a piece on Samo Academy of like what the hell is a covered call option, like how does it work, like what should you know. So we've done stuff like that. I think like and then on like the Samo DAO side, that's really where like the content bounties come in. Like again, there are just like so we've taken like we stepped back and we're like, all right, the reality is that like Samo, like yeah, we want to dominate the meme sector and we want to build a community, but like let's be real, like we're not going to go out and try and build like an NFT marketplace or like a DeFi protocol or some shit like that. Like that's not within our core competency. The market's already pretty saturated. Like we'll leave someone else to do that, but what we do want to tackle is like the education game and the insights game and help that market become more efficient. And so the collaboration that we do want to do with SAMO DAO is initially going to be that research content that we produce. And then, once we get that out and once we build a big following and people come in and they read these reports or, they attend AMAs or whatever it might be, I think that there's going to be definitely a lot more opportunities to find ways to collab with other projects and do things a little bit more differently. So that's kind of like how we're thinking about things. But yeah, I did want to add like again the opportunity we saw for Samo, it was showing love to other projects and becoming the ambassador in part too because we realize if we do want to be like competitive in the meme game, like we've got to win over the ecosystem too to some degree. Like I want people to have like a Solana portfolio and have X, Y, and Z coins and NFTs, but then also say like at the bare minimum, I've got my 1% exposure to the meme coin sector via Samo. SHIB is like a really good example of like as big as it got. It's pretty interesting how you don't see any like love or support from people within the ecosystem of Ethereum. Like it's very much like it's its own thing. Like most people
True.
probably even think that SHIB is just its own chain, but it's on Ethereum. So yeah, that was something that was also like we observed and we see like opportunity.
Yeah, that's actually super interesting, isn't it? So, yeah, SHIB doesn't really have much traction with anyone else. Even Doge, like you're not seeing Uniswap making memes with Doge about stuff, right? Like it's kind of its own thing and it's its own sort of isolated thing. Whereas Samo sort of crosses across the entire ecosystem. Like there's a lot of memes flying around with a whole bunch of different projects, right? Which is awesome to see. So yeah, I guess you guys are like taking a different approach, which I think is way better as well. And yeah, it gets more people into it and it's better for onboarding and blah blah blah. I was going to say as well, I actually think probably what, I don't know, maybe you guys have some thoughts on this, but a lot of the sort of content that's created that's the best content is from crypto native people. And a lot of the TARDFIs that try and like get into it or try and like write stuff about crypto, it just sucks. So actually, I think if you're incentivizing crypto natives with a crypto native mechanism for them to like get up in the morning and go to work via a DAO, like I think that's A, it's probably going to lead to higher quality, and B, you're probably going to attract the right people to that as well. Like they're the kind of people that you want, because the people that are crypto native are going to write the best stuff. So yeah, I don't know. What do you guys think about that? Of like, I guess the quality and sort of maybe how it compares to elsewhere? Because yeah, I just haven't seen anywhere from like a traditional place that I even care about anything that they have to say.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of correlation between TradFi and crypto to a certain degree, but at the end of the day, they're two totally different beasts. Maybe not so much in market movement. I think we're seeing a lot of tie together with like the movements in traditional markets and the crypto market right now. But in terms of the individuals living in the space, and at the end of the day, while like economics is numbers and the charts and all of that, it's really still driven by humans. It's kind of the measurement of a human activity, and the humans operating on crypto are very, very, very different than the humans operating in TradFi. And I think having somebody that understands how like how this sect of people move and operate and how they think is an extremely effective tool that these guys in TradFi just can't wrap their heads around. I everybody has their opinion on NFTs, but there's something to be said when you can actually successfully watch an NFT launch, watch the project kind of evolve and start making calls on it, which a lot of people do, very few do well, but those that do well, it's pretty incredible. It's because they understand how crypto Twitter works and how these people operate. They're spending time in the Discords, they're spending time on Telegram, and this is just stuff that your average TradFi analyst is not doing. And that was part of the impetus of hanging out in our Discord, looking at like our NFT Alpha channel, our TA Kings, and all of that. It was like, okay, these guys are crypto native. It's crypto first. They're not influenced by past histories in the TradFi world. A lot of them are pretty young, and like they are the culture that is making these moves. And having somebody on the inside that was kind of born and raised in crypto is an extremely effective tool when analyzing or doing research on it. I mean, I couldn't agree with you more.
Yes, this is why I call it TARDFi, not because they just don't stand a chance, right, compared with the crypto natives. Good point there as well. So we should probably talk about. You mentioned NFTs, and we've spoken a little bit about tokens. Samo obviously has a token. Sort of why I think last time we spoke, the NFTs had they launched, or I'm not sure. But anyway, like, what are you seeing with the Samo NFTs, and how are they contributing to the rest of the ecosystem, or what have you noticed in terms of community growth and sort of that sort of thing? Like, I always see the Samo Famo on Twitter with the Samo NFTs. I have some, but I'm kind of wedded to my little chicken here that is a step themed one. So, but I do have some Samos. So yeah, I mean, what are you guys sort of noticing from the NFT ecosystem? Maybe even just more broadly as well. Like, where are we at in Solana with NFTs? There's like a million different marketplaces now, and they're all trying to do stuff. Don't really know. I don't know where they're gonna sort of end up a year from now. So yeah, I don't know. What's your guys' thoughts on it?
Yeah, I mean, just real quick, as far as the Samo NFTs, like we've always viewed, first and foremost, like we're not an NFT project, and I'm actually glad that we're a coin first project for a few reasons. I won't go into that, but that's not to say we don't care about the NFTs, but for us, it's like, we were, for one, we weren't really interested in trying to play the NFT game of like, you can stake it and then get some Samo, or you can do this and that, which is, I'm not going to say any projects, but it's blatant, like, securities law violation. Like you can just pull up the Howey test and, apply it to an NFT with like staking capabilities. Like it's clearly a security. That's just a game we don't want to play, and we don't want to compromise Samo, like not getting listed on an exchange. But, so for us, it was very much like, this is just a way to identify with the Samo community. It's a collectible. And it's so funny, like when the NFT craze kicked off at first, like that's what NFTs were. And then it became so much about utility. And then I think it's like swayed back where people are now like realizing like it being a collectible is enough. Like it's another way of having exposure to a community. And then in our case, it's like a means of getting access to like the Samo DAO and all of that, like what's going to evolve from that. So that's how we've thought about it, and it's still very much a core focus of ours. As far as like the NFT ecosystem as a whole, like I I don't know. It's so honestly, it's like it's so annoying, and I guess I say that because like we're a token project first, and so like I feel like there's so much attention that's been shifted that direction, and so maybe I'm a little bit bitter, but like it's just some of the shit that just comes out. It's like crazy. Like it blows my mind that there's these NFT influencers supporting some of this shit, and I guess I should be fair and say like it's not all that dissimilar from like the ICO craze, but it is very cringe, and I'm not like particularly a fan of it. However, there are probably like a handful of like other NFT projects that are like absolutely killing it, that are crushing it. Myself and Swick, me especially me, like I'm a huge Solana Monkey business fan. Like the Monkey DAO, Swick and I joined like very early days. It's been remarkable to see all that they're doing, and I'm really excited to see what comes out of that. But that's very much the exception, and so there's a lot of garbage and noise out there. But of the ones that are big and still around, and tackling things that are novel and original, like I'm super excited to see what they do. Don't really have a view on the NFT marketplace, but I will say, as someone who worked at a crypto exchange, like I'm blown away how fast, at least on Solana, the NFT marketplaces have converged to a zero fee like model. That's, you started to see people in the centralized exchange like coin industry like slowly trickle towards that, but they still aren't even close to it. And it's like pretty remarkable to see the NFT world just like in Solana just push straight towards it. I will just say like I'm personally not a fan of it. I think like royalties are important. It's a revenue stream that allows for innovation, and projects that are going to go to zero or shit, like you don't need to strip away royalties from that for them to die off. The market's plenty efficient at doing that. So like let's not like take away and make it like an industry standard for royalties to not exist. Like if people don't want to pay royalties, then they'll find a way around it, whether it's YA or other NFT marketplaces. But really interesting, like despite all the conversation and shit talking that's going on right now, like the marketplaces that do charge a fee still make up the vast majority of trading volume. So that's my long rant. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good point as well. Just on the utility thing as well, like PFPs are the utility. Everyone's like, oh, but what can I use it for? And then they think up various things like, tickets is a popular one. We haven't really seen that taken off. I think it's a great idea, but it's not getting like $1 billion of people buying tickets into it anytime soon. And then sort of what else is there? And people think up various ways, and maybe it's like staking, but okay, where does the yield come from for staking, right? So, but I think like PFPs, people undervalue that. Like people want to be part of a club and a community, and they're willing to identify with that by waving their PFP, and that's what they want to do. So that is the utility, I think, that maybe a lot of people miss. But was it one of you guys, I think, that we were talking on Twitter the other day, where we were saying one of the differences between projects that have a coin and projects which have NFTs is the NFT projects, they are kind of incentivized to sell out their entire supply, and then essentially, I guess, from minting fees initially, their treasury accrues some money. Whereas projects that have a coin, like generally they only sell like a small percentage of supply, less than 50%. And then the rest of like the coins are essentially the funding for the project. So I guess with the NFTs, they don't keep a percentage of supply of their NFTs in their treasury. So like they don't really have like that buffer. So if they lose royalties and royalties go to zero, then they have zero income and they're kind of wrecked. So yeah, I don't know, maybe we want to sort of expand upon that, but I thought that was a really interesting insight that, yeah, maybe a lot of people are missing, is that maybe the convergence of NFTs going to zero royalties will maybe push some of these projects to either retain a certain amount of supply in their treasury, maybe mint themselves more, maybe do more listings to like try and get more money to keep the lights on, basically. Like there has to be some sort of sustainable mechanism for them to go forward, and coin projects kind of have it down. It's like, okay, we reserve a certain supply for the treasury, but I don't know, what do you guys think?
Yeah, that was something that I threw out, and just for like further context for the audience, I said I think like it'd be really interesting if an NFT collection reserved, for example, 20% of the the NFT collection for themselves and they're able to mint it for free, you know, in which case it's very much like a coin project where they have like a treasury, and they have the exposure and benefit of the floor price of their collection going up. You just don't have that in NFT collections. And so, you know, it'd be really interesting if that's how, if the NFT industry like started with that model and just kind of ripped it from coins, like would that still be around, or like would it have been kicked down the road and replaced with royalties? I don't know, but you know, the bottom line is like coins, like NFTs, like you need starting seed capital, and like yeah, you know, it's probably, you could probably argue, well, if you mint out, then you have enough money and you should be good to go. But I think that like that is still in many cases like not going to be enough. And so, you know, if royalties don't exist or you get rid of them, then it's like eventually the market, every project that launches is going to converge to some sort of alternative revenue stream that is going to be so overly saturated that like everyone loses. So what do I mean by that? Like, I don't know, if you rip out royalties and the only NFT like initial starting capital you have is from the mint, like how are collections going to make money otherwise? I don't know. Well, maybe one of them, and it's very low level, is like you have some sort of merch line, right? In which case, like what an NFT collection is just going to be, everyone's going to be funded by selling hats and t-shirts and socks and shit. Like, you know, not only is that not original, but like it's just it's not going to be enough to keep a project going and keep it alive. And I think that like, you know, maybe at some point too, like if they were to go down that route, like at what point does someone commit the first merch rug where like everyone's expecting to get like this merch and like it never ships?
Yeah, it's
And
centralized. It's just like some
yeah,
dude who's like got some merch in his house and you just have to trust him. What?
yeah, I don't know. If I was a criminal, maybe I'd try and pull that off because that would be kind of funny. But at the same time, it'd be horrible. But like, yeah, you know, I don't know. Like, again, I think like the royalties, it was always like the embedded royalties in an NFT was always like one of the talking points of like how cool and innovative NFTs were. And now it's like somehow the conversation has gone to like, let's get rid of them. It's like, how about no? How about like you have people chip in and pay a small fee, and you know you can compete on like the size of that fee, but still, again, like have this autonomous like revenue stream that allows for projects to like innovate and do something different, as opposed to like, again, having everyone converge to the very other basic alternative like revenue streams that anyone can do right out the gate.
Yeah, I think also it's like people are sort of making something out of nothing as well. Because how many people out there really care about fees? I mean, whenever I go and take a long or a short position on a coin or something, I don't care about fees. Like all of the exchanges are basically the same. And you know what's going to determine if my P&L is positive or negative is if the number goes up or down. Like that's it. So really, I don't really care if I pay like a 0.03% fee as opposed to a 0.1% fee. I don't think anyone really cares, do they? But if you make it a whole discussion point, then people just pop out of nowhere and have opinions on it. And then, you know, then it just becomes a thing. And they're like, well, I'm not going to go there because of its fee structure and so on. It's like, well, did you actually like stop yourself from buying something because you were looking up the fees and you're like, oh, actually, that's terrible? I dare say nobody's done that. But when you make it a thing, it becomes a thing, right? So I don't know. Cool. We should probably also talk about token burns and some of the cool stuff that's going on there with Samo and you guys. You've done multiple token burns as well, right? So like, how does that sort of play into it? How do you determine that happens? Where is the Samo coming from to do those token burns? Like, what's the mechanism there? And yeah, why should people care?
Yeah, I think when it comes to token burns, that was something that was actually created by the founders, not like GSS and myself. To be completely honest, I think token burns are kind of two faceted. On the plus side, when you announce a scheduled token burn that you're going to do it on, you know, the first of the month for the next 9 months, it shows a certain level of consistency, also builds a certain level of trust of, hey, these guys say they're going to do something, they can do it. And, you know, we hit every single month that we promised we would. We burned them all. You know, we sent them to a wall to be destroyed. They don't exist anymore. And it shows that we have follow through, regardless how the market worked. We didn't keep those coins and sell them, and it was a ton of coins. But on the like on the other side of things, at the end of the day, you know, if you're a educated market participant and you know a project is doing a coin burn, you should already have that amount removed from the supply in your head. Those coins should never be thought of as in circulation. And I think it's something that we see a lot of meme coins do, and they kind of sell it as like, hey, you know, this coin's going to get like rarer, right? We're going to be reducing the supply, price is going to go up. Well, the hope is that your community's smart enough to know that these are already gone, so we should price this in. But that being said, we had a lot of fun, led to some great memes. Of course, we followed through. We showed that we can be trusted. But at the end of the day, I mean, you know, a burn's cool, but it's just a burn, and the tokens are gone the minute you say you're going to do a burn.
Yeah, that's the thing about token burns is I don't think anyone, or I don't know how people think about it, but as you say, you should be thinking about it in terms of either tokens which are already not in supply are already not in supply. So, you know, does it really do that much? Or like what's a lot of people like buyback and burn versus, you know, just burning or something like that. Step's done a token burn. We did that. And I do think that it is important that um, token burns can support like a broader view of the token itself. So I think a lot of people, when they look at a token and if they see like, oh, there's 10x supply that hasn't been released yet, well, I'm not even going to bother looking at that coin. You know, and I think that's detrimental to a lot of projects. So I think it does make sense to have a healthy, you know, market cap to FDV or circulating to uncirculating sort of supply ratio. So, and I think token burns are good to support that. But yeah, they're an important part of things. But yeah, it sort of remains to be seen how the market's actually going to value them and stuff like that. Talking about the market and how awesome all of the FAMO is, what about Lisbon? Do you guys have any plans for that? Hyped for that? Everyone that I've spoken to recently in Solana is going to be there. And we want to do some cool stuff at Steps. So yeah, I don't know. What's your thoughts there, or just conferences in general?
Oh shit, yeah. No, it's an excellent question. I, for one, as someone who is not well traveled and have never been to Europe, I'm super excited to leave the States, for starters. But you know, it's going to be really cool to just hang out with other people in the ecosystem and you know, especially meet like the Step team and hang out with you guys. And so we've got a ton of stuff set up, and I'm gonna try and remember everything. But Swick, you know, please feel free to jump in if I forget something. Merch. We've got a ton of fucking merch. I'm getting on the plane with basically like 100-pound duffel bag of Samo merch.
Okay, this is coming from a guy that said that if he had the master plan, he would say that he's going to have merch and rug us. No, but just kidding. We're actually going to
have True.
Yes. Damn it, Swick, you gave it away. You gave it away. We've got, yeah, real quick, we've got a ton of stuff from our bonfire store, like a lot of the classic cool Samo Wave, the Samo Zombie, some hats, a few other fun things. We did actually a collab with one of our community members, Brand, and he's actually in the audience right now. All time highs. We've got a Samo is coming, which is features. We've tweeted out a Samo fighting a bear with SBF in the background. That's really fun. And then our other favorite one that we're super stoked about, and it seems like we're getting really close to printing them, is, you know, we're doing the Samo Step collab T-shirt that is like really, really fun, kind of rendition of the Step logo plus the Samo plus the Step guy. And so that's like another fun thing. And so we've got a shit ton of merch, and now it's like a question of like, how do I get my hands on it? One of the things that we'll be doing is we will have a real life Samoyed. Where, you know, keep an eye out for an announcement. You can come track us down, get a picture with the Samo, him or herself, I believe himself, and you know, post it to social. You'll be able to pick one of your pieces of merch, and it'll be kind of a cool, fun experience to meet people in the ecosystem. Swick, we've got like a few other things underway too. Do you want to just hit on like what else we're doing?
Yeah, you're going to hear a little bit more about it, but we're going to be part of a go-kart race that's coming up. If you guys are familiar, Nation is going to be throwing the Solana Bear Market Grand Prix. So we'll be a member in that. We'll be racing around, but some more detail to come there. Don't want to spoil too much. We're also going to have an activation with the Cupcake team, holding a bit of a scavenger hunt as well. A lot of this stuff, I wish I could give you more details, but we have some pretty big marketing campaigns for them, so don't want to go too hard. And then let's see, what else do we have? So we got Cupcake down. We talked about Nation. Am I missing anything else, GSS? I'm trying to think.
I don't know. I just realized that did I actually when I was talking about did I mention all-time highs? Did I say the name or did
Yeah,
I
you
get
did.
like
You
so
did.
okay. I
Yeah,
wanted to make
V
sure I didn't
all-time
get
highs.
so excited with the design that I completely forgot to call it out. But
Yeah, that's easily the coolest shirt I think that we've ever made. Um, for you guys that don't know, all-time highs ran by Value Multiplayer. The design is absolutely ludicrous. I can't wait for it. It's gonna be awesome. But yeah, in
yes,
terms of
I think
activations, I
that's
think
it though,
that's what we're
right?
looking at.
Yeah, yeah, and obviously, I think we're going to be attending like a few other events thrown by other communities, and so again, just super excited to chat with people and put a face to a name, and I think in our case too, like show to people that the Samo team is real people. To actually prove to other people I'm not a hot chick too. I think that was like a rumor for quite some time. I don't know how, but yeah, people are going to be thoroughly disappointed when they meet me.
That's awesome. Yeah, there's like Aaron, our co-founder at Step, is an anon. So the sort of running joke whenever, like last year, whenever there was someone, there would be like some 45-year-old woman or something, and I'd be like, "Hey, that's Aaron, guys, over there, by the way," if they hadn't seen him yet. So I'll do the same with the GSS. I'll just pick some random on the street and be like, "Hey, do you know that that's the Samo team over there? Like, that's crazy." But that's awesome. I love the merch stuff, and so yeah, I can't wait. It's gonna be tons of fun. If anyone out there from the FAMO can make it to Lisbon, definitely do it. There's gonna be thousands of Solana people walking around for a couple of days. It's gonna be great fun. So yeah, definitely hit up the Samo merch as well. The shout out to your store. What's the link there for the merch store?
Oh shit, Swick.
Yeah, we could drop it down below.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, we'll drop it down after the call as well, for everyone. So yeah, that's awesome. As well, I guess. So future plans. Is there anything like yeah, anything that you guys sort of have coming up or ideas or sort of yeah, what's next for Samo on the roadmap?
Yeah, real quick on the merch stuff, I did forget to mention we do sell stickers through Atten. I see Sam from Atten's actually in the audience. I wanted to give a shout out to them. Those are going to be available again for purchase, so keep an eye out for that on the merch front. As far as like future plans, like look, I think that the market sucks right now. I think like as a meme coin, we obviously want to be pulling in newbies to the space, and we'll continue to do that. I think in this market environment, it's really tough, and people don't want to touch crypto. They're worried about the average cost, the price of gasoline, like a carton of milk, et cetera, et cetera. So I think like we'll continue to like do educational stuff through Samo proper and try and still pull people like newbies into the ecosystem, but we also know like it's not the right time or place to really be doubling down on that. So in the interim, like it's going to be a really hard push on Samo DAO where we can bring more people who are already in the ecosystem into the DAO to get involved, to learn a little bit more. George, as you know, like, yeah, bear markets suck, but like this is the best time to be keeping an eye out for teams and projects that are still building, that are still around, that haven't thrown in the towel, that haven't quit when times have gotten tough. And so, we really want to be focusing on the DAO and finding a way to reward people and incentivize them to produce content so they can become a little bit more informed and be ready for the bull run, and then also help educate the broader space. Swick, did I have anything? Did I miss anything there?
No, I think you nailed it. I mean, right now it's like really focusing on the DAO. I think that takes up a ton of our time, and outside of that, Samo's kind of we've been tweeting a bit about it. Samo's going international. We just had Simdope, who's down in the crowd, attend FTX Experience Waves. It's been crazy, and then we're going to be in Lisbon. A few of us are going to be hopping over to London. There's probably a few other international locations we'll be at as well, so keep your eyes peeled.
That's awesome. I love it. Yeah, that's I think that's the right approach as well. Like bear markets, it doesn't really matter what you do in a bear market. Numbers still going to go down. Like we see that across the entire ecosystem. Like literally every coin that's listed on FTX or something, there is nothing that can buck the trend. And it's kind of weird that, crypto is so coupled like that, and and then crypto itself is coupled to say the Nasdaq or S&P and so on. So it's disappointing, I guess, for all the hardcore crypto people that are like, yeah, screw the banks, screw the the traditional economy, blah blah blah. We're gonna make internet coins a new thing. Well, I mean, it's what can you do in a market like this? But I think definitely building new stuff, building the foundations there, such that when the bull market does return, people are going to come rushing in and are going to be like, oh, actually, this project like has all of this content, this mountain of stuff that they've been doing. Like, clearly, that's amazing, and these are one of the major players that we should care about. And I've noticed as well, like these markets definitely wash out a lot of the bad actors in crypto, as well as projects that maybe were just in it for the money. And as well as maybe some of the shillers as well. Like a lot of those shillers, I heard the other day, they're getting like 50x less in terms of like fees for promotions and stuff like that from doing TikToks or YouTube or whatever it might be. So like they are realizing it as well and maybe leaving and giving up. So that's probably for the best, because then the true real projects that are actually doing stuff can shine. So that's clearly what Samo's doing. There's no one else that I can think in the Solana ecosystem that is across as much cool stuff and making as much cool content as the Samo team. I think what you guys are doing is really cool. So yeah, thumbs up for that.
Yeah, likewise. And thanks so much for the kind words. It's mutual too. Like Step is obviously like an awesome platform. Like I'm always telling people about it who haven't used it and for whatever reason, or maybe trying to, for example, like figure out where some shit went and like take a look at their portfolio and keep tabs on things amongst all the other kind of offerings. We're super excited to see what comes out of Step, particularly like as it relates to Solana Floor and some of the more educational stuff that you guys have. So the feeling is mutual. We're just as bullish on you guys, and pumped to hang out in Lisbon.
Thanks,
Yeah,
man.
likewise.
Sorry, go ahead, Sweet.
Yeah, I was gonna say likewise. I mean, I think it's no mystery at this point, at least meme wise, that Step Guy is definitely Samo's best friend in terms of the memes. Like half the memes we make are like Step Guy and Samo hanging out. So love like partnering up with you guys. So excited to meet everybody like face to face in Lisbon. It's probably like one of the things, if not the thing, I'm most excited about.
Yeah, there may
I'm
be.
hoping. I was just gonna say I'm hoping that meeting or hanging out with the team in Lisbon, I can also try and figure out and put my thumb down on who runs the Step Guy account. That's what I'm really interested in knowing.
Well, I was going to say there may be a physical manifestation of Step Guy in Lisbon. I mean, I don't know. He could be there in all of his hexagonal glory. It's going to be great.
I'm ready. I'll have the camera. I'll have the Kodak camera ready to go.
Love it. Love it. Cool. Well, I guess that's that's all that we had to discuss today. And I guess a quick shill as well, just about Step as well. We're going to have merch in Lisbon, so definitely come on down. A lot of the team's going to be in town for that. We'll be pretty excited to tell you about some of the cool stuff that we have going on, like the new analytics platform that's coming out very soon. We have sort of demo versions of that as well internally that aren't quite ready to see the light of day, but it's going to be very exciting. So anyway, we've got a lot of cool stuff going on. Really excited to be collaborating as much as we can with the Samo team. They're really awesome. And definitely. Where should people follow you? Where's the best way to interact with the community? Where should people go?
Yeah, feel free to click on either my PFP or Swix and just follow us through Twitter. You can obviously go to samoyedcoin.com to learn a little bit more, and then obviously come through to the Discord. Keep an eye out. We're going to be making some really cool, awesome announcements as it relates to Samo DAO leading into Lisbon. There's going to be, again, lots of opportunities for people to get involved. And if you want to assume like a leadership role and be at the early innings of the DAO, feel free to let us know and keep an eye out for the next Top Dog Council election cycle. Swick, anything I'm missing there?
No, nailed it.
I love it. Awesome, guys. Well, thanks so much for coming, GSS, Swick. Gentlemen, it's been a pleasure as always. And all the best for the next couple of weeks and with the DAO. And I'm looking forward to meet you guys in Lisbon. It's going to be great.
Awesome. Sounds good. See you there.
Likewise. Thanks again for the time, George, and a pleasure chatting as always. You're about OG as it comes, as you know, in the space, and thanks for everything that you do and all the good fights you're fighting out there.
Thanks, man. Awesome, guys. Thanks for coming around, and see you later, guys. Have a great rest of the day.
See ya.